Hey Facebook, happy Friday. Finally, we're at the end of the week. Thank goodness, I feel like this week has gone by so fast. Okay, before we get started, this is what we're painting. So I got a lot of responses back on the last cherry blossom painting that we did. I think it was last week. Of course it is a different style, but I had another request to do that, so we're gonna paint this today. Really not that much of a color palette. You only need to use black, white, and I just did a lot of mixing for gray. And then you're gonna use pink to create some of the cherry blossoms. So let's get started. Okay, so first thing is I painted this gray, and you're gonna add your background. So you're gonna have different shades of gray, a light gray and then a darker gray, and then you're gonna move to black. So I'm gonna start off with, we're gonna create some of these hills right here. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you wanna start with the lighter color. And you wanna make sure it's a little high up here. But this is gonna be your background. Hey, mother. Actually, cherry blossoms are in full bloom in Japan. If you've never been, it's definitely life-changing. It's really, really pretty. They have these cherry blossom festivals too. So you're gonna overlap this once this dries. Another thing, if some of you use watercolor, you can really just use watercolor if you want. And by adding a little bit of water, that's gonna thin out the paint. Okay, so this is gonna be your first one. Then I'm gonna use a blow dryer to make sure this all dries. Okay, now I'm gonna go over some of this darker gray right here, and you're gonna create some more hills. I'm just gonna tap a little bit. because I don't really want it to be that smooth. Now this is just going to be your background, like I said, so if it's not perfect, that's okay. Oh, thank you, Mickey. That's so kind of you. Really means a lot. Thank you. So what do y'all have planned for the weekend? Do y'all have anything fun planned? Going to any state parks? That actually does sound like a really good idea. What kind of music today? Vitamin String Quartet. This is actually a playlist on Amazon Music. I never know what's playing, honestly. None of that crazy Titanic. Hey, Lori. Then I'm going to use some of that light gray and kind of tap right here. I need to buy more paint. I didn't realize how many paintings I'd be doing. And what I'm doing here is I'm just kind of blending this part into the canvas. Okay, now we're gonna go over this part. So this is where your black comes in. What's up, Ray? Black is actually the color I've been using the most. Okay, so same concept. Getting some of that black here. And then I'm gonna tap. Remember, this doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't really matter how your hills look as long as you just kind of make sure they're 3 different shades of gray. And then the last one, of course, is going to be black. Basically, the farther it is, the lighter it's going to be. Okay, I think I'm gonna do this. Just leave it like that, and then I'm gonna blend that part. I'll say the cutoff is right there. Just eyeball it. Barbecue with lots of music. It depends what you're playing, Mickey. I'll tell you what, every time I go back to I go to San Antonio sometimes, one of our neighbors plays Post Malone so loud and it makes me crazy. Like anything but Post Malone, y'all. I'm sorry if some of y'all are fans, but it's just not my thing. Hey Betty, thank you. And a lot of this is just tapping. but this part you're gonna blend out. Okay, so I want this to, I'm gonna go back and forth. I want this to be a little flat. Then I'm gonna dip into some of the gray. What's up, Violet? And this part you're just gonna keep dragging on like this until it gets lighter. Make sure you get the sides of the canvas too. And then I'm gonna lighten this part up by kind of brushing on some white here. Then I'm just gonna add some of this light gray right here. Kind of move it down. I don't want to make it too dark. Hey, Sylvia. Ready for the weekend, girl? I always say that, but then I never have anything to do. Just paint all weekend. I'm just kind of brushing like this. Oh, I know, same. make sure you don't have harsh lines whenever you're blending everything. If you ever need help doing that, I would say go ahead and dip your paintbrush into water, and that'll thin out some of that paint. Just don't use too much water. Like there's very awkward brush strokes right here, and I'm trying to blend that out. So that's when I add some of the white like this, and then that will smooth it out. And then that's the same technique that you would use with the when you dip your brush in water. Okay, now I'm gonna go into some of the black and then kind of wipe off a little bit. It's not even done yet and it looks amazing. Thank you, Victoria. Wait till you see what it looks like after. And I'm just kind of going back and forth. Hey, Nathan! My dude, Nathan. Okay, now we're gonna add another hill here. So I'm gonna start out with the black and then kind of just go like this on the top. Make sure you get the sides. Can't stress how much you have to get the sides of the canvas. Tap, tap, tap. Sorry, it's so windy, fam. Okay, so adding some of the lighter gray there. This is, well, it's actually more of the medium gray. And then I'm just gonna tap here to blend these colors together. Is this Taylor Swift? What is this? Yeah, it is a Taylor Swift cover. I never know what's playing, so sometimes it'll play like songs that I just don't really care about. But these are instrumental covers. Okay, so this part, you see how there's a lot of, you can see these brush strokes? I'm gonna get some of that white. And then I'm gonna start blending. So I'm gonna drag this hill down here. And then I'm going to use some water to blend this out. Towel is going to be your best friend whenever you're painting. Okay, I'm going to worry about this later, but right now I'm just going to blend up all of this. And then every time you wipe off the brush, or you wash your brush, make sure you wipe it off with a towel, because if you have too much excess water on it, then it can make your paint look kind of funny. and you don't want it to be runny. So for this part, I'm going to use some white. And just doing this kind of motion where I'm just kind of going back and forth with my brush. So I kind of want a little bit of a shadow here. So I'm going to go back into some of that dark gray, not black, but just some of that gray. I'm doing the same thing. Okay. Now here's the fun part. We're gonna start doing the cherry blossom. So I'm gonna show you what brush I'm gonna use. And I think doing this, the kind of style that you would use for this, it's fun because it's not very precise. I use this brush, it's a little pointed, very soft. And then I'm gonna go in my black paint, and this is what's gonna, this is gonna be the tree branch. Okay, so you can see here, I started at one big tree branch right here. That's gonna be the dominant one. And then I also have a smaller one right here and a little one right there. So the background that you just did, that's not gonna be the main focus. You're gonna use some of that paint. And then I'm gonna start up here. So the thing about cherry blossom trees is that there's kind of, they kind of have these very strange curves. So I'm gonna, let's see. I'm gonna load up the brush here with the black, and then you can start off pushing hard on the brush and then just kind of let it go. So that's how you would create a branch. I'm actually gonna extend this a little more so it's bigger. Hi, Debbie. And I want it to be thicker up here. And you can really make this branch as big as you want. So cherry blossoms don't really have branches that are just kind of like your standard tree where they just kind of go up. They kind of go down and then they kind of go up like this. And then you're gonna add little branches. I'm using it's kind of like you're using a different size brushes, but you're really just using one. And I think that's my favorite thing about using these kinds of brushes is that there is a lot of control over what you have. And then you want to create little branches up here too. And some of them have these little bumps right here. I forgot what they're called. If you know what it is, comment below. And then I'm gonna have another branch coming from this side. So push hard and then slowly let go. And then just go back if you need to touch on it a little bit. You're gonna cover all these branches up, by the way, so if it doesn't really look the way you want it, as long as you just have some branches here, then you'll be good. Okay, what else? Do I want to add another branch? Yeah, I think I want to add one right here. And then add some of these little nub things. Okay, now we're gonna go in and we're gonna do some fun stuff. Actually, one more. Okay, now I'm happy. So let me make sure this dries first and it's completely dry, because now we're gonna add some of those cherry blossoms to your tree. Sorry, I know that sounds annoying, but we gotta make sure it's dry. Okay, so here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna use some pink. So I'm gonna put that on my palette. Just a smidge. Then you're gonna put some of the white in another one. Okay, now here's the fun part. You're gonna use a flat brush, okay? So you're gonna dip half of the flat brush into the pink, and then the other half into the white, like this. So once you do that, I don't know if you could see it on the palette, you're gonna go back and forth like this, okay? Make sure it's completely blended, because that's gonna be key when you make your cherry blossoms. And when you start, you wanna make sure the pink is on the bottom. The petal, the white part's gonna be on top. Okay, so let me start out with the pink first. So I'm gonna add these little buds right here. When you start on the top of the branch, make sure you add some of the pink using the corner. Okay, so this is how you do a petal. You're gonna put the whole thing on there and then move, like kind of like you're doing an upside down teardrop shape. And then each time you're just gonna keep dipping in the brush and make sure when you're wiping it, it's completely blended. And then you can make some falling. I'll do that in a second, but I need to add more pink on here. And you're gonna put all these cherry blossoms basically all over the tree branches. And then feel free to like go ahead and put some of the white and dip it on here. And also some of those petals to make them fall. Okay, kind of like a teardrop shape. So kind of do like a flower pattern for some of these. And just kind of go crazy whenever you're placing some of these cherry blossoms on here. And mix some of the white in there too. Thanks, Mary. If you ever wonder, should I add some more? The answer is always yes. You want to add some more. Remember, white goes on top. And for some of your magenta color ones, you're just gonna go on top with those two. Not all the little pink buds, but just enough. And then if you want to have some more flying. And the key here is really just blending this out. Let's see. All right, and there you have it. Got some cherry blossoms around here because it's cherry blossom season. It's actually, most of them are in full bloom around this time in April. So hope you guys enjoyed that. I know it took a while, but not too much of a color palette, just kind of getting that technique down and working with different brushes. So if you do try it out, kind of experiment and maybe try practicing when you're painting cherry blossoms. But hope you guys enjoy that. Happy Friday. Be safe out there, and I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Bye, y'all.